Hello, welcome back. My name is Chris Miller, and in this tutorial, we're going to walk through WordPress basics, learn a little bit about what WordPress is and what languages it uses and how you might be able to use it as a developer or business owner. So first, what is WordPress? It is a content management system. There's a lot of those out there. WordPress is probably one of the most popular ones that power about 46% of all websites on the internet. It gets a sort of a bit of a bad rap in the development community because it's viewed as maybe just a drag and drop editor, or you throw some plugins or purchase some themes, and that it's not very flexible. And that's really couldn't be further from the truth. It can do all of that, yes, and there's a lot of successful developers and successful designers and businesses that use WordPress in those ways. But WordPress is extremely putty-like. You can shape it, mold it to do just about anything that you want to do with it. So WordPress is built using PHP, uses the PHP programming language. And then from a front end perspective, you can go headless with it on any sort of JavaScript framework or any sort of framework that can consume a RESTful API or GraphQL there. And it uses HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, obviously, to power the front end. So let's go ahead and get started by cracking this open using local WP. I have shot a previous video on local, so we're not going to dive into what local is on this one, but check out one of my previous videos if you're interested. And while this is provisioning a local WordPress site, which shouldn't take long, I did want to take us to wordpress.org. Oop, that is not what I wanted. Give me a second. Looks like local's requesting a password because it's doing a few things for us. So we're going to wordpress.org, and what I want us to focus on is get WordPress here, and clicking on get WordPress. Yes, thank you. That is going to bring us to this download here. So you can download the zip file or the tar file. So if we download the zip file, we can click to unpack the zip file or extract it, and we're going to see a folder. Let's look at the column view here. We're going to see a folder with WordPress core. Okay, so these are all the WordPress core files. You'll see that most of them end in a .php. And then we have our WordPress config example, which we'll take a look at here in just a moment. Now, if this is your first time, it might be your first time looking at WordPress folder structure here. What you should know is that anything that you're going to do in terms of adding plugins or themes, custom development, uploading files, anything that you interact with on the back end of WordPress, it will always find itself in the WP contents folder. The WP contents folder is your safe place for editing or doing anything that is going to be non-destructive or interfere with WordPress core. You really do not want to edit anything in the top folder structure of WordPress, or what we call WordPress core. You're always going to want to work inside the WP contents folder. All right, so I'm going to close that. And in comparison to what local WP just did for us, we're going to click on this little arrow here, and we're going to go down into app, public, and you're going to see exactly the same folder and file structure here. And that's because local WP downloaded WordPress core and got us up and running with a local instance there. You might see a new folder or a little bit different Something a little different about the WP Contents folder here, but that's okay because again, the WP Contents folder can change depending on what you have going on. So we're going to click on Admin, and we're going to log in with the credentials that we had just created. All right. Okay, great. No, thank you. All right, close out of that tab. Now, we're not going to go super deep into all the things in this particular video. We just want to kind of run through WordPress basics, the lay of the land, the interface, and what do some of these things mean. And in a future video, we may dive a little deeper into some of the parts and the pieces. So this is our dashboard. I'll be 100% honest with you. In my 10 plus years of working with WordPress, I've never really paid that much attention to the dashboard here. Now, the dashboard, it can allow you to, perhaps add useful messages or useful things that matter to you or your client here. If you install certain plugins, some plugins may make use of the dashboard, but I will not speak about the dashboard because I don't use the dashboard. What I do want to point out here is the update section. I'm going to click there. Because we just installed a fresh version of WordPress and we really don't have many plugins going at all right now, we're not going to see anything of value here. But when there is an update published for WordPress or any of the plugins or themes that you might have installed, this is where you're going to see that information surface, and you'll be able to click a few buttons and get your update going. Posts. So this is going to be a list of all your blog posts. This is a native post, and something that I want to touch on briefly is this whole idea of what WordPress calls posts. It can get a little confusing. So everything, okay, media, pages, comments, and even down to users, I'm pretty sure, they're all considered posts. And you'll have this ability as a developer to create custom post types. So say, for instance, you want to create a post type called portfolio. You can do that. You can register using a function, register a custom post type, and it will appear there on the left-hand side. Again, we're not going to cover that in this tutorial. That's going to be in a future tutorial, but just throwing that out there. But the concept here is that everything is a post. So why is that a little confusing? Well, because one of the native built-in post type is called post. So just want to get that out of the way and just get used to everything under the hood being a post. So you can add a new post or you can edit existing posts. These are often going to be used as blog posts in most cases. If you want to use it a little bit differently, depending on your circumstance, you can. Now, we just clicked on Add New Post, and we're looking at the Gutenberg editor. This is new as of about 2 or so years ago. Prior to this, it used to just be a WYSIWYG. So if you've touched WordPress a long time ago and maybe you're looking at it for the first time in a while, this is going to look completely new to you. We're not going to go into Gutenberg on this one. Again, that is a whole nother topic and a whole nother video, but it is a very powerful editor for pages and posts and other types of post types. So I'm going to zoom in there a little bit and make it easier for us to see. Before I push on to some of these other items here on the left-hand side, I want to pull your eye towards the top here, screen options. If we click and expand that, you're going to see how you can enable or disable certain columns there in your table of posts. You can also expand or increase or decrease the number of items per page here in this input field. Oh, no, thank you. And let's go ahead and make sure that we have do not disturb turned on. Thank you. All right. And then you can do view mode, compact, or extended view. So just letting you know that that'll sneak up on you. That's often a missed thing that people don't realize that's there. All right, you've got some filters running across the top. So as your project grows and as you have different statuses or states of a post, you'll see different options for filters across there. You can do some bulk actions. So if you choose multiple posts, you can click edit and click apply. And then this is going to allow you to, say bulk edit 20 posts at a time or something to that effect, if that is something that you need to do. And then you can also filter by date and filter by category as well, if those are things that you use. And then you also have searching for posts there too. So if you have thousands of posts, that'll be an easy way that you can search for your posts in the back end. All right. Because we're running short on time, we're not going to go through categories or tags. That'll be covered in a future video. I will jump into media. Now, I find how WordPress handles media, I find it really awesome in comparison to a lot of other CMSs out there. Some CMSs still really do not have a native or core way of handling media assets. And that is something I think that is very crucial and important to anything that you build. There's always going to be some form of assets, whether they're icons or images or videos or what have you. Now, you can upload media assets directly to the media library and then go use them, as in a page or in a post or another custom post type. Or when you're creating a post or a page, if you're adding any sort of media assets there, those will automatically surface here in the media library. So just know that anytime you're uploading anything media-wise, it will always find its way here in the media library. All right, and then if we were to have a piece of media uploaded here, you'll see the option to manage its alt text and other information about the image. All right, I'm going to click on pages there. And so pages, not going to speak a lot about pages, because really, if we click through to a page, it's going to look just like a post from the backend perspective. The big key difference between posts and pages is that a page is all the top level things that make up your website. So think about your main navigation, think about all your landing pages, your home page. Those are pages, okay? Posts, on the other hand, again, is typically referring to a blog post. So a blog will have many posts, but you might have one blog page that will feature or list out all your blog posts. So throwing that out there. Comments. In a lot of cases, I'll be completely honest, on projects that we at least work on, comments are disabled, and we really don't allow comments on any of the sites that we build. However, if you have a certain use case where you need comments, they're a core feature of WordPress, and there's lots of great plugins out there and ways that you can hook in and extend comments to meet your needs. All right, appearances. We've got ways that we can add new themes or use some of the existing built-in WordPress core themes, or write your own theme or use a theme boilerplate. We've got one out there that we'll cover in a future tutorial. In order to learn more about a particular theme, you can click on theme details. You can read about the theme. Maybe even they have a support page where you can go get more information about it. You can do a live preview or activate the theme, which we're not going to cover in this one. You can search for installed themes, or you can click add new, and this is going to take you to a theme directory. These are all of the published themes out there in the WordPress directory. I will skip over some of these sections for now. If you get your own local WordPress spun up and you want to click through, some of these will change depending on which type of theme you have installed and what type of functionality and features that they provide to you. So I'd encourage you to check those out. And then we've got plugins. And plugins are really, really powerful when it comes to the WordPress ecosystem. It's not dissimilar to a lot of other CMSs or other frameworks that have plugins or modules. Sometimes those are terms used interchangeably. But if we click Add New, it'll bring us here to a public WordPress plugin directory where you can browse or search or filter for a particular plugin that you're looking for. So it's really, really cool. If we click Install, for instance, we can click Install and then Activate, or if we don't want to activate it yet, we can click on Plugins. This is the plugin we just installed. We can click Activate, good to go. Then we've got users, so we can add multiple users to our WordPress site and allow people to log in as administrators and change content, moderate content, add content. We can also allow users with not admin privileges to be able to view maybe private content and other things like that. So there's lots of great plugins out there and lots of great ways you can hook in to the WordPress. There's a lot of great ways you can hook into WordPress and extend users to meet your particular needs. Tools. Some of this has changed recently with the addition of site health, which I think is a really awesome thing that WordPress did. If we click on site health, it'll tell you things that you need to consider, or if there's any kind of critical issues that it wants you to take a look at. It's sort of like Google Lighthouse, if you're familiar with that, but it's a WordPress version for the WordPress core there. But as a whole, the whole tools sort of drawer here tends to grow as you install plugins, especially utility style plugins, and you're going to see more options come into the tools section here. There are some built-in ways to export and import things. You will find that it's pretty limiting, so you're definitely going to depend more on plugins to be able to export and import things in a more efficient manner. So just throwing that out there. And then finally, under settings, we have the ability to update the site title and the tagline, which on some sites you might not use these things, but other plugins do. Plugins like Yoast that you'll come to learn, or maybe you already use, will leverage the site title and the tagline. So you would still want to consider using those, even if that's not surfacing on the front end anywhere. We're not going to cover the WordPress address site address or WordPress address here, the URLs. But I will warn you, you really do not want to change these once these are set unless you know what you're doing, because if you change these, it will break your site. I promise you that. All right, administration email. This is the email where you're going to receive a lot of notifications. Membership. Not going to cover that right now. I think that's kind of relatively new, but there's lots of great plugins out there for managing membership style sites. New user default role. There's your roles here. So by default, if someone is registering on your site, if that's what you allow, they will be a subscriber. Site language, time zone, day format, time zone, time format, and week starts on. So lots of great option settings there. There's going to be lots of option settings here that we're not going to cover today, but just know that if you want to change the settings globally on your WordPress install, you can do that here in the settings section. So we didn't cover the bar going across the top, but I will touch on just two things. One is clicking here to visit the site will take you to the front end of your site. So if we take a look at the URL here, we are on our test site.local. If I click the back button, it just took us back to test site.local, WP-admin. We're in the backend admin section now. So if we go back to the front end, there's our front end that we can test and preview. And the last thing that I want to call out is this little drop down that I'm hovering on. This is how you can log out if you want to log out of your site and go back to the front end, and there you go. All right, so if you're new to WordPress or just getting started, or maybe have heard people mention it but never seen it in action or didn't really understand what it's all about, this is what it's all about. And in future videos, we're going to be diving more into developing with WordPress and developing our own custom theme, our own custom plugins, and all that good stuff. All right. So hopefully you found some value in this video. If you have, please hit the subscribe button to this channel and come back to check out more of my videos. Thanks.